Welcome to the fourth episode of Richmond's $1 Million Startup Podcast, presented by Ben X Consulting Group. We have Caleb Boyer on the show today, co-founder of Providence Hill Real Estate. Caleb will go over some tips and tricks for young entrepreneurs, why he started Providence Hill, and any challenges and obstacles that he's faced while turning a company from zero to multi-million dollars. Today, I have the honorable Caleb Boyer with us. Caleb, thanks for joining.
It's good to be here.
Yeah, we're so excited to have you. So today we're going to talk a little bit about you as a person, Caleb. I know you grew up here in Richmond, and then talk about the company that you guys started a little while back, how that's going, some tips and different things. So why don't you tell the listeners, first off, who you are?
Yeah, so Caleb Boyer, I co-own Providence Hill Real Estate and run a team of agents out of that brokerage called PH Partners. We're 7 agents and then have some phenomenal support staff that help us throughout the day-to-day and just making sure we're bringing our clients the best service possible and doing everything we can to help them through that transition of selling or buying a home. I was born and raised in Richmond, Virginia, so local native. I went to a small private school through middle school, and then went to Douglas Freeman High School, which was a great experience. From there, I went to the Virginia Military Institute, graduated in 4 years, got out of there as quick as I possibly could.
That's always a success.
You don't take a victory lap there if you can help it. It might not end well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm one of 4 kids. I'm number 3 in the lineup. I think we have a little bit of a unique upbringing. Everyone has their own experiences and stories. What makes our story kind of unique is my youngest brother, Taylor, he was born perfectly normal. When he was 6 months old, had an adverse reaction to one of his childhood vaccines, which caused a severe seizure disorder, which in effect caused or has caused severe brain damage. So he just turned 31, but he's about a year and a half developmentally. Mm-hmm. And that was something that was just part of our life growing up. My parents working really hard to support us, pay medical bills, and then navigate that whole process while also trying to raise 3 older children. So I'd say my parents are huge role models of mine. Mm-hmm. They're not perfect people, but huge role models nonetheless. No. None of us are.
The only perfect person I met, Caleb, is you.
That's good. I appreciate it. Let's just wait until we finish this podcast and see what you think. And what makes them so inspirational to me is just living in that adversity and chaos. I mean, I think for 10 to 15 years, they were getting 3 hours of sleep a night because my brother was having seizures all night long. And then when you could sleep, you're like, is he going to die? That, and then just holding our family together, kind of being pillars and keeping a strong marriage throughout all that. I can't imagine. I have 3 kids. We're expecting our 4th pretty soon here.
Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We're those crazy people.
Yeah.
Everybody's asking if we're going to stop here or keep going. And the thing is, if you go over 4, you got to get a funny car. Yeah. So you're either getting club wagon. We've got an 8-seater Honda Odyssey now. So hopefully we can,
they make 10-seaters nowadays?
I don't think so. It's called a club wagon.
Yeah.
Or a Sprinter van.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. So childhood was very chaotic. Mm-hmm. Scary at times, and obviously, like you only know what you know. Don't you know?
Sometimes.
So that was just kind of an interesting environment to grow up in. I think it has played a lot. I think into I guess you could call it the success, but really just like the flow of how my older brother Dawson and I work together. Who we're business partners on this venture, this real estate brokerage, and then have been on past ones. So really just learning how to come together as a team and how sometimes most times there's something that you have to put ahead of yourself. So having that mentality form at such a young age. And so Taylor is my youngest brother is almost to the day 2 years younger than me. So
Gotcha.
I didn't know life really without him, or that situation. But yeah, I think just being in an environment where you have to be team minded. There was things that we were pitching in and doing, that you just, I think most folks don't grow up doing.
Right. Yeah. I always find it interesting because I'm the oldest of three.
Okay.
And I always find it interesting, like, how did you feel being the third of four?
Yeah.
Like the middle child. What did you think?
I'm just be real open and honest.
As you should.
I think there's been some like jealousy.
Yeah.
To work through that I have worked through now. But, I think at different times in life, because Dawson's 4 years older and then my oldest sister's 5 years older than me.
Oh, I thought Dawson was the oldest for some reason.
And we have an older sister.
Gotcha.
Katie.
Okay. Gotcha.
And so this isn't really true. I think we all had, based on birth order, just circumstance, whatever, like
Sure.
we all had a different experience with it. We all had the same experience, but it infected us all differently. It seemed to me like they were older. They kind of got to do their own thing. And I felt like some of my experiences were hamstrung to a certain point because it wasn't as easy or conducive. Because it was like, there's the pair, Dawson and Katie, who are the older ones, and then the pair, Caleb and Taylor, who are the younger two. But what it taught me is like, just there's somebody else in your life, your entire life, that needs 100% support. They're 100% dependent. And so I think that has helped me tremendously in business and raising a family and being a husband, hopefully, and being a friend to other people, being a realtor to my clients. But it just taught a ton of compassion that I'd say is pretty innate to my core. Well,
I bet it was. I mean, growing up, it's obviously a phenomenal lesson to learn, but I would imagine growing up, it was a difficult lesson to learn as well.
Yeah. I mean, I think, you were built through, adversity.
Right.
And so that's something I value, adversity, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I mean, it's never fun to go through it, but we're a result of our circumstances and how we face those circumstances. So again, having my parents and see how they navigated that and just have continued to persevere through it has just been tremendous in kind of carrying that mentality in everything that I do.
That's awesome.
But yeah.
You, so obviously you grew up in Richmond and then you stayed. What's something you love about Richmond?
Stayed in Richmond.
The family aspect and just,
Yeah. I think I had wanted to get out of Richmond for a little bit, out of school, do something else, but always with the intention of coming back. Never did leave. I've kind of always been, since I graduated school, I've always been a part of startups in some form or fashion. And so what I love about Richmond, I think, is the history of it. Obviously, we're seeing a lot of, the history in the last couple of years and kind of the impact that has had on our community. But again, like back to that adversity thing, I think, if we lack trials and hardship and failure, it's hard to grow to the next stage and next step. So I'm kind of excited for the future of Richmond as we, navigate these things and hopefully come together and work towards a common goal, and then just being its proximity. So you are close to the ocean, you're close to the mountains, and then you've got a river. Some parts of it are great. Other parts I wouldn't dip my feet in. But nonetheless, we have a river and it runs through our city.
I got crushed the other day wakeboarding on the river, by the way.
Yeah.
Absolutely crushed.
But even just, like doing whitewater rafting down it, because there's like decent rapids, or paddle boarding, a little bit more upriver. In high school and college, we'd do floats and stuff down the river. So just to have that like added layer of entertainment. And then I'm hoping it will thrive even more, but I feel like Richmond has a music scene that's like really trying to break out. It has been for a few years, but I think we're going to get there. So
it's funny because I'm seeing Brett Young on Saturday.
Oh yeah.
And I'm fired up.
That's good.
Yeah,
That's good.
I know. I'm fired up. So you went to VMI. And then I kind of want to get into a little bit of the career and kind of how you got to, where you are now. So you graduated VMI, and did you have any idea what you were going to do?
No. I was kind of looking at law enforcement or the military at the time, obviously being at a military school. That was kind of one natural path you could take. So I was pursuing and this kind of goes back to trying to get out of Richmond for a little bit. I was pursuing a commission in the Coast Guard, which is really competitive. That year, I think they took 5 civilians, which even though I went to military college, I wasn't coming from another branch or coming up in the ranks of the Coast Guard as an organization. So I got waitlisted for that. And then honestly, like life happened. I injured my back, had to have back surgery, which kind of changed the course of my life in a lot of ways. I met my wife. We kind of early career, my parents started an ice cream and coffee shop that while I was in that application process and working another job, kind of helped them to run and manage that. And then an opportunity came up with that where I transitioned into kind of a role that had a lot more responsibility to it. So my brother, sister, and I took over that ice cream and coffee shop, Boyer's Ice Cream and Coffee, moved it to a new location on Libby and Grove that it's now Gelati Celesti.
Were you guys better than Gelati?
We actually serve their ice cream. So
really?
Yeah.
Hold on. I'm
not gonna say who serves it better, but it was the same ice cream.
We know the answer.
It's the best ice cream. They made it. So, but no, I mean, they're an awesome organization, and the founder who we've originally partnered with was this amazing guy, and then the current owner, Steve Rosser, has taken it to new heights. I don't know if you keep track of Gelati Celesti, but they've really grown their footprint, or just kind of
they have few locations,
bringing joy to people through ice cream. So it's been fun to see their success and kind of be a firsthand witness to that.
So before you keep going, are you a big ice cream fan?
Formerly, and not because I don't like it, but it doesn't sit well with me anymore.
I feel, I hear.
It's a shame how when you get older, there's wonderful things in life. But like in high school, I was always like, hey, let's go get ice cream tonight. And people would be like, dude, we went last night. It's like, so what?
Yeah. Tell you what, I got on a quick kick, or a recent kick with ice cream that about a year ago I discovered I liked it. Weirdly enough, when I was growing up, the weirdest thing, I was like, when you go to birthday parties growing up and there's cake and ice cream, I'd eat the cake but only. I would not eat the ice cream. I was never an ice cream fan. And a year ago I go, I love ice cream. So I eat it like 5 times a week now.
And your favorite flavor is?
It is either plain chocolate or a mix of all chocolates. So like brownie, chocolate, peanut butter, like just throw it all in there.
I can appreciate that. Light some candles, have a glass of wine. I mean, you're living your best life.
Take a bath real quick. No, sometimes I put a big fat scoop of peanut butter in it. And that you want to talk about new heights. You guys should have done that.
So I like peanut butter. I hate peanut butter desserts.
Really?
Other than peanut butter cups.
So Reese's.
Reese's I like. Okay. Obviously Trader Joe's they've mastered all treats like
good,
that,
aren't they?
And their peanut butter cups are pretty good. So,
by the way, Whole Foods cinnamon rolls, and they're not paying me to say this, but Whole Foods cinnamon rolls.
Cinnamon rolls. I do love cinnamon. Cinnamon rolls.
Unbelievable. So, all right, so let's get back. And so you and your sister and your brother took over the ice cream coffee shop, and then how long was that? Like, did he take over for a year, 2 years?
Yeah. So it's the career story, professional life kind of takes some different winding roads, which is interesting. But at the time I'd worked. So when I decided to stay in Richmond, I was working with a startup. They're an architectural fabrication company. So I was doing like some project management with them, but it's a small company of 4 people.
Oh, wow.
And so I was doing a lot of the hands-on carpentry and things as well. Mm-hmm. And in college and even high school, worked with contractors all growing up. So still have an interest there. And kind of in that, like working with my hands when I can.
Because you have your GC license.
Yep.
Right? Yeah.
Yep. So I have my Class A contractor's license, which kind of came out of that experience. Worked with those guys for a couple of years. We did a bunch of like restaurant build outs and custom home renovations, like really cool things. And they're both doing their own things now, but are doing great. And when I left there, I got my contractor's license, my builder's license, and started my own company, RC Boyer Contracting. So I was doing that full time and was helping my parents with the ice cream shop for a while, as I guess you could call it a general manager, but was doing it on the side in more of a volunteer role, if you will.
Sure.
Because their goal was starting that. They're both in the medical industry, but their goal was, let's like retire a little bit early so we have a business with its quote unquote flexible
Work hours.
Yeah, work hours that we can kind of manage so that we can then take care of Taylor as he gets older and needs more care. But it's a lot to juggle. I mean, we know we're talking about businesses right now and just getting something started and growing it and getting it to succeed is a lot of work, especially when you're working a full-time job. So they said, we can't do it anymore. Taylor's care is starting to change. So let's, we're going to close up shop unless y'all want to do something with it. Around that same time, this opportunity opened up to move it to Libyan Grove.
Gotcha.
So I was doing construction projects at the time. My brother, sister, and I took ownership of it. I was, I guess you could call the managing member, and built out our new ice cream shop on Libyan Grove since I was already doing that, and then was just trying to build out a team. And so I was heavily involved for about a year, got a general manager trained up, was probably doing that for another year.
And this was what year?
That was probably 16.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And then we were subleasing from another business. Well, long story short, we sold it.
Gotcha.
I was the one mostly involved with the shop at that time. I had gotten into real estate at this point.
Gotcha.
And was helping people buy and sell homes. And so I was still like trying to juggle the two. The real estate side of things was going really well. And we were expecting our second child. It's like, something's got to give. So we're really fortunate to be able to sell it to Gelati Celesti, who'd been supplying it to us. And then kind of the rest was history from there.
And you started in real estate right after?
No, so I'd been in real estate for 2 years at that point.
Gotcha.
I got into real estate in 2016. So yeah, I guess I'd been running the store for the ice cream shop for a year when I got into the ice cream business. And the reason for that transition partly was I'd injured my back, like I mentioned, when I was 23, had back surgery, kind of pushed through it, was growing a, contracting business. But even once you start to build out a team of project managers and stuff, there's just inevitably always going to be something. And as we were starting to have children, I was like, I need to take care of myself. So maybe it'd be a good idea to look at other things. Dawson, my brother, had been doing real estate for 6 years at that point, and he kind of grown his team to, he had a transaction coordinator, but then needed some help with serving clients. So had no interest in getting in real estate, was never that interested in it, was never interested in joining him in it.
Oh, sure, I bet.
But, it seemed like a good opportunity, and we'd work together with the ice cream shop, knew that we could do that, work together on a business. And so was at Long & Foster with him for about a year. When we split off, moved to another brokerage and formed the team, Providence Hill Real Estate. So we partnered with Elliot Gravitt, who's one of he's our principal broker and co-owner of the brokerage with us. And he had a team at Remax. So we formed kind of at the time, a mega team. Now you see teams, they're huge, but there's about 7 of us with 4 support staff. So we were doing that for a few years, and then just felt like we wanted to help other people.
Do a little something different. Yeah.
Yeah, do something a little different, but help other agents do what we had done. Because the job, it'll chew you up and spit you out.
Oh, yeah.
You could end up working just nonstop.
Right.
There's times where you are working nonstop, but our goal was, let's create a model where there's work-life balance, because that is always under threat in this job. And so the idea was to create something that's kind of like a doctor's office, where you have your clients,
Gotcha.
You're serving them, taking care of them, are hands-on, but you've got support staff, and then you have partners, teammates that can kind of hit the ground running with your clients if your kid's sick or you're out of town. Instead of just being like, sorry, I can't help you today.
Right.
You've got somebody who's kind of dedicated to the same mission and vision who can fill in on these kind of one-off scenarios. And so the brokerage was, let's help other people learn how to scale the business of real estate as opposed to just do the job of real estate.
Gotcha. That's great. And so you formed you broke off, how was it, a year ago, 2 years ago?
A little over a year ago.
Yeah, a little over a year ago.
Yeah, May 29th.
So you went from kind of quote unquote having your own team, but under an umbrella to officially breaking out to where, you guys are kind of doing everything on your own. I mean, true business owners and founders of this company. What's been the biggest hurdle for you guys going from, hey, we're in real estate with our own team, but now we're actually with our own company? What's been the biggest hurdle in transition?
Biggest hurdle. It's interesting because I'd say a lot of the hurdles that most businesses experience kind of initially, we kind of, because that's the unique thing about real estate is that there are these different umbrellas. You've got a brokerage and sometimes you have a team and then you've got the individual agent. So everybody's running their own business to a certain extent. So we got to work out a lot of kinks just running as a team. But then it's with the brokerage, just like the buck stops with us now.
Right.
It's really been going smooth. I'm trying to pinpoint something because we found a great space and a great location pretty quickly.
You did.
I managed the build out of our space, and that went incredibly smooth during a time where it was really difficult to get materials. It was difficult to get trades in. We did that project in like 10 weeks, and it was a pretty significant size project.
Middle of COVID.
I'll take the credit, but
yeah,
like the tradespeople we had, and then just like everything aligned and it went really smooth.
Right.
I think we have a clear vision. And so it's really just trying to get that vision out, to, hopefully get other people on board. We're trying to get to 30 agents pretty quickly. I'd say that, I don't want to say it's been a hurdle because it's similar to when you're serving clients, but there's just a lot of follow-up and timing. I think timing is kind of an aspect that can be challenging because, you can be talking to somebody where, our firm is a perfect fit for them, but the timing is just really inconvenient.
For like hiring new employees?
Just bringing on new agents to the firm.
Yeah, new agents, gotcha.
But we just added our 24th agent this week. We really didn't start recruiting until we got into our space, which was in November. It's less than a year. So we've, been really fortunate. Just gone smooth.
Yeah, and there's, there probably is a good amount of people listening to the show that are currently in a job, whether it's construction or finance or technology, and they're like, I think I can do this on my own, or I think I can break out on my own. What are a couple tips you would give those entrepreneurs that are like, hey, I got the skill set, but I kind of want to jump out on my own?
Yeah. I think this is a common piece of advice, but you have to have a clear vision. And I think what a clear vision allows you to do is take it one day at a time. Because I think there's so many things to focus on and tend to in a given day. There's so many facets and multiple hats that you could wear. But if you're trying to look at the week or look at the month, and you do have to make time for that, but really just waking up every day and saying, all right, today, I'm going to conquer today and I'm going to be present today, because the clients that you have around you, the customers that you have around you, the vendors or the teammates, employees, as a leader of an organization, like they need you and they're looking to you.
Right.
And if, I have my head in next week or next month, they're kind of like, where are you, Caleb?
Right.
And so that's more, running the team. We've got 7 agents, like I said, so that's kind of a facet of the brokerage. But that's probably been my biggest hurdle in that regard. So not as much on the brokerage level, but in running the team is just making sure I have a clear vision and that I'm focusing one day at a time.
Yeah. You said something that I think is important, and it's like focusing, on your priorities and what's important. But my question is, how can you decipher, like especially as a young entrepreneur, 1, 2, 5 years into this, how do you decipher what's important?
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, people are important. Obviously, you're the one leading a mission and you're trying to go somewhere. But I think if you bring along the right people and treat them well, they're going to help you get there. You don't need to be pushing the ship yourself. And I think that's can be a big like predator of your time and energy is that, I mean, the responsibility is yours, but you can bring people along to help you drive that mission. Because I mean, I think a piece of advice I got was, train, whether it's staff or in my situation, staff or agents, train people to the point where they could go do it on their own. I mean, I think I've always been a big believer that the purpose of leadership is that you replace the person can fill your shoes.
Sure.
But how you, treat them so that you retain them, so that they don't want to leave. And so that's what I try to do is just investing in our agents and staff and making sure that they're well taken care of. And honestly, like that's kind of the main goal of the day. There's a bunch of tasks they need to do, but making sure that people are in the right places to fulfill some of those duties and tasks, making sure I'm focusing on the things that I'm best suited for, and then being able to give up control. I think
I feel like that's tough for it's tough for me.
It is. Yeah. And I think that's kind of how I try to, approach every day as like, today is let's worry about today. And then come at it with hands open, because the reality is we don't have as much control as we think.
Right.
Even when we do have control. And so just going at it with hands open, and knowing that what I can control is how I treat other people, and then how I react to the circumstances, whether they're positive or negative.
Yeah. And that's something, Caleb, even the last year for me, it's like realizing what I can control versus can't is a lot tougher than I originally thought.
Yeah.
Especially as I'm kind of building this business and growing, it's like what I can control is so limited in the vast scope of things.
Yeah.
Which is frustrating. I know for me, it's like, if I can just focus on what I can't control, what I can't control will eventually hopefully take care of itself.
Yeah, exactly.
You just got to have faith, baby.
That's right. That's right.
Just got to have some faith. So you guys are obviously crushed it, man. We've talked about some tips for young entrepreneurs, some tips that you guys have obviously had some success with. I'm curious if we flip it on the narrative a little bit. You've started your own construction company for a bit. You've taken over a family business, and now you've started this real estate firm. What has been arguably your biggest challenge, in starting a company? It could be when you took it over, the ice cream. It could be the current real estate, or it could be when you started the general contracting company. What's been your biggest challenge so far, you think?
Probably celebrating my own successes, if you will. I think I'm very much like a refiner.
Yeah.
And so, I can't remember the way the phrase goes, but it's something along the lines of like, don't let better get in the way of good. And so I think it's just, being
perfectionism too.
Yeah. Perfectionism. Yeah. I think a drive of excellence, maybe like I wouldn't call myself a perfectionist, but I think there are certain things that I try to perfect.
Let's talk a little bit more about that, man, because I struggle with that personally as well. Because I'm like, you're exactly right. Like you want to strive to do better and your intentions need to be good, but they're never going to be perfect. Right. And so how do you deal with that?
I mean, it's a daily process.
Yeah.
It's, and it's something that evolves, and the demands for your time always change and they always increase, at least in my experience,
Right.
We're growing this business, this company. We're kind of on a fast trajectory of growth, and we're at a segment of time where we're still getting off the ground. So you're just using a lot of fuel to get in the air. But then I have a family as well that I'm trying to be present for, and spend time with, who I love. So, and I just know the importance of being present and involved in their lives. So I think it's knowing what, again, kind of going back to like, just worry about today, and knowing what it is that I need to accomplish for the day. And then once it's done, it's done. If you finish early, which is rare, if you finish early, go home or go do something for yourself. Because that's where I struggle, is I feel like I have all this weight on my shoulders. I'm helping carry this thing, and I have to be perfect.
Right.
But activity is not always productivity. So I think it's coming to that.
That's good.
Understanding and discipline that, you might be keeping busy and it may be relevant to the job, but are you actually producing anything from it that is truly going to push the mission forward? I realize I'd say more times than not when I do that, I'm just hurting myself so that I'm not going to be the best I can be the next day. Because I've worn myself out just spinning wheels on things that are helpful. They might like clean up the process a little bit or set my next day up for better success. But sometimes you just got to be okay with a job done.
Yeah, man, that's good advice. Even for me. Yeah, that's some great advice, man. So you alluded to it a couple minutes ago, but I really wanted to ask, you have your fourth kid on the way, right? You're running this company, and you make it a priority to spend time with your family. What are your steps, or what do you proactively do to ensure, either work-life balance or ensure that, you're spending enough time with your family?
Yeah, it's a great question. And it's I think there's probably something I should focus on more in terms of like how to be intentional with it. And my kids are still young, so it's kind of like, all right, well, what are those things going to be? Both of them, my two oldest just started soccer. So I think something practical is be at all their soccer games. My parents were at all of our sporting events. My grandparents were there. Awesome. My granddad, another big role model, he was at everything. But I think I try to really just start the day being present with them. It's easy to get consumed by the things I need to do, where I need to get and be, but just it doesn't have to be anything significant or crazy, but it's like helping with breakfast, asking the kids how they're doing, what they're excited about for the next day. Something that I've tried to do to keep me in check, or just to make sure that there's a rhythm, and it's rarely convenient or organized, because my oldest is 5, then I have a 3-year-old and almost 1.5-year-old. So the focus can struggle, but we try to do like devotions every morning. We just read a short piece of scripture from the Bible, and then this devotional, and then being home, putting them into bed at night. At this stage, it's kind of like start the day with them, finish the day with them, and then be at those big events. Yeah, and
that's great.
Like you said, making that a priority. So if it is, sometimes you've got to disappoint somebody else. And I think that's probably a hurdle for me going back, is very much a people pleaser.
Right.
But I've had to come to the place that there's always gonna be somebody that's not 100% satisfied with how you did something or the decision you made. And that's been a challenge, is knowing like it's for me to make decisions with the team and with my family. Not everybody's always going to align, but again, just having that clear focus on your vision and then treating people well, and making the time to talk through why a decision had to be made a certain way with the individual that may disagree with it.
Yeah.
And they may not agree with it, but at least you're showing them the respect and the time to invest to go through it with them.
I heard a good saying. I think I said it last podcast, but the church I go to, the pastor goes, "If you want everyone to like you, sell ice cream," which I guess you've already done.
Yeah, well, he's wrong. No, that's funny.
So we've talked a lot about you as a person in the career, and then the new firm. But I'm curious, what are you most proud of, career-wise?
Most proud of?
Yeah. Could be, could be current company, could be fun, the ice cream company, could be whatever.
Yeah. I don't know if proud would be the word, but I take I get a lot of joy out of, kind of helping people find their place and helping them thrive. And I feel like there's certain agents and people that I've employed in the past where, at least I hope, there was something I said to them or a way that I treated them that set them maybe like change their course or trajectory just enough to go in a direction that they can be proud of and take a lot of joy in. But yeah, and I think that's what I love about my role now, is I get to go alongside people who are building a business and going through a lot of challenges, some of which I've been through, some of which I haven't been through, but kind of helping guide them through that so that they can be the best. And again, like this business will chew you up and spit you out, like I told you. So helping people to approach it in a way where not only are they going to be really successful, but they're going to be able to get to be a part of their children's lives or a part of, their spouse or significant other's life, or just do the other things that they want to enjoy.
Right.
And some people, they just want to work all the time. That's great too. So and help people
Very
navigate that
different,
as well. But at least just having options to live the life that you want to live.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I want to ask, I know we're about to wrap up here in a second, Caleb, but I want to ask two final questions. The first one being the current firm. I want listeners to know kind of what's going on. You just hired the 24th agent. So tell everyone what's going on currently with the business.
Yeah. So we've been really fortunate to grow quickly. Like I said, at our 24th agent, realtor, and we just I guess actually 25th. Our office manager is transitioning.
Numbers are tough, I know.
Yeah. Our office manager, I was a liberal arts major. So. Our office manager, just is transitioning to become an agent.
Oh, cool.
So we're extremely excited for her. She's somebody that came from a different industry, a different, much more stable company, right from the beginning with us, and just jumped in, took a risk on us, has been learning the business, and is now transitioning that role. And we've been really fortunate to our new office manager that's coming in, has decades of experience and is just incredible and outstanding.
Oh, that's great.
And we've been really fortunate and blessed. I think when you're asked about hurdles, it's just hard to think about because there have been some. I'm sorry I couldn't shed more light on those, but just so many good things have happened. And I think maybe that's the point or the goal is like focus on all of the like great things and great people that have come in along the way and helped you get to where you're going. And
to piggyback off that, you strike me, even in our relationship personally, you strike me as someone who forgets the bad things quick. As far as the hurdles, like someone who obviously running a company, there's a lot of failures.
Yeah.
And you just got to toss them to the curb. And
well, you have
you do
to, and
that
that's a process. And that's something where that has not always been the case. But again, like adversity and just pushing yourself and taking one day at a time. You can't worry about yesterday anymore. You can't worry about tomorrow necessarily. Like let's do today the right way.
Yeah. I like that.
But yeah, we've had tremendous growth. We're trying to get to 30 agents pretty quickly, which we're kind of on course to do that. But our goal with it, we're 3 owners, and the reason that is that we have the bandwidth to help these agents build their business. Because like I said, most of the brokers in town, there's a lot of great ones. There's a lot of great leaders and brokers in the industry. Most of them just teach you like the business, or the job of real estate. Like this is how you help a client. This is the contract. This is how you conduct a transaction. This is how you can do it really well. But very few help go alongside you to scale the business. And that's what we have done. And that's what we want to help other folks do is, you're doing as much as you can do and you can't do any more. Well, here's how you bring on an assistant or a buyer's agent. We're going to go out and help you find that person if you need. Here's how you scale and expand your business, again, to bring that work-life balance to it so that you're always providing better service to your clients, but you're also not killing yourself in the process. So that's kind of where we are now. We provide a lot of like training and mentorship to the agents that I brought on, and we've had incredible folks join us so far. And we're looking for those agents who are either tapped out on a ceiling that they've hit, because we think we can help them get over that, but also, again, work-life balance, or the person that is kind of stuck and wants to grow more. So helping them get to that next level. So that's the goal. And those are the kind of folks that we're looking for.
Gotcha.
And we're really excited to serve and see how we can help them accomplish what we've done.
That's awesome. And you talk, Caleb, a lot about, I guess, you guys kind of influencing others to be the best version themselves, kind of find their path. And I'm going to wrap up with this question. It's my favorite question. And it's, who is the most influential person in your life, and how have they impacted you?
This isn't a cop-out. I'll add one to this.
Sure.
But I would be remiss not to say Jesus.
Yeah.
And the reason I say that is there are so many decisions I could have made the wrong way, or relationships I could have damaged if I didn't first like go back to that center.
Right.
And I think that's the case for anybody, whether you're a person of faith or not, like not rushing into something, but having that example has definitely helped me get to where I am.
Yeah.
Because I probably would have made a lot of dumb decisions that would not have allowed me to come to where I have.
Right.
Aside from that, I mean, I think my brother Taylor, and it's kind of hard to like separate it out, but my family as a whole.
Yeah.
Just the lessons learned from everybody through that experience, the challenges to overcome, just having that family unit has really been what has helped guide me to where I am and approach a lot of situations and challenges. But seeing Taylor, who he's been a huge blessing to our life, but it's hard not to like look at him and feel like he was kind of robbed of like the life experience. Unfortunately, we have a hope of what's to come, but so for me, it's almost, well, I need to produce more than I consume because, not making up, but like all the experiences that he can't have, like I should go that much harder to live these experiences. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And
Thanks.
I didn't articulate that very well. But
you did. No, seriously, thanks for sharing, man. I think that's phenomenal. And I think a lot of people are gonna take a lot out of what you said today. So lastly, how can listeners support you guys? I know you have a podcast, right?
We do. Yep. Chat and Chill with Providence Hill. It's our podcast.
Say that one more time.
Chat and Chill with Providence Hill.
I love it.
I kind of skipped over your last question. The most influential thing has definitely been helpful. $1 Million Startup Podcast.
Yeah. It's
tremendous.
Richmond's $1 Million Startup. We only paid him $1,000 to say that, which is.
But sorry, what was your question?
No, just how can listeners support you guys?
We have a podcast, so listen to that. The goal with that is just we're bringing in people from the community. We're very community centered and oriented.
And then you guys are big on social media too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So Providence Hill, RVA,
LinkedIn, Facebook,
Instagram.
Okay,
yep.
Gotcha.
Maybe TikTok.
Like, follow, subscribe.
Exactly. Yeah. And aside from that, just if you know anybody who needs advice or assistance buying or selling a home, we'd love to serve them. We take that very, very seriously, and know that we're helping people transition through some of life's biggest events a lot of times. So just want to serve those people in any way that we can.
That's awesome. Well, Caleb, had an absolute blast talking to you, man.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah,
appreciate it.
Thank you so much for coming, and look forward to continued conversations in the future.
Likewise.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for listening to this episode of Richmond's $1 Million Startup Podcast presented by BenX. BenX is a benefit consulting firm that brings clarity to the employee benefits world. They have simplified the process for both employers and employees so they can make better healthcare decisions. Learn more about BenX by visiting benxconsulting.com. If you are enjoying listening to this podcast, please consider sharing the show with some people in your life. This will allow us to continue sharing the stories and insights from Richmond's top young entrepreneurs.